At 75 years young, Edith Marshall decided to celebrate by taking a luxurious cruise to the Bahamas. Despite not owning any fancy possessions and wearing simple clothes, Edith had saved up for a first-class suite on the ship. However, her excitement quickly turned to embarrassment when a millionaire passenger humiliated her in front of everyone on board. But Edith didn't let that stop her. She boldly revealed who her son was and why she was there, leaving the other passengers speechless. In today's video, we are going to talk about the poor old woman who was kicked out of a luxury cruise ship until they learned who she was. But before we get into it, remember to like this video and subscribe to this channel to get more amazing content. Let's get started. Edith had never been on a cruise before and hadn't visited the coast in years, thanks to financial struggles and retirement woes. But turning 75 was a milestone she was determined to celebrate, no matter what. So she paid her taxes and kept up her home, all while saving up for this momentous trip. And what a trip it was! A luxury ship with all the bells and whistles, swimming pools, casinos, top-notch cuisine. A far cry from the simple life she had been living. As she arrived at the port, Edith felt overwhelmed by the fancy, well-dressed passengers and struggled to find her way. But she refused to let her age or being alone stop her from enjoying this once-in-a-lifetime experience. Unfortunately, the other passengers weren't as welcoming, and Edith felt like an outsider, despite her best efforts to make friends. Things went from bad to worse when she set off the metal detector and was humiliated for having keys in her stocking. The other passengers laughed and mocked her, but Edith refused to let them break her spirit. She proudly confirmed her identity to the inspector and showed her ticket, ready to embark on her journey despite the obstacles in her path. The inspector was skeptical and called the manager, who examined the ticket and looked at the elderly woman suspiciously, causing yet another delay for everyone waiting in line. The women behind her grew impatient and started to judge her for not being dressed as well as they were. Despite feeling embarrassed and judged, Ms. Edith boarded the ship and was in awe of its size, although she struggled to find her way around. A crew member mistook her for a low-income tourist and directed her to the wrong place, causing more confusion. Finally, she found a young man who was willing to help her and led her to her luxurious suite. But when her bags were left on the floor, a wealthy passenger complained about having to be around people like her. Ms. Edith was hurt by his comments and didn't understand why her presence was so offensive. In the end, the sailor guided the woman to a chair in the hotel lobby and assisted her in sitting down. As she did so, an old photo slipped from her pocket and fell to the floor. The sailor acted swiftly to retrieve it for her and noticed that the photo featured a young boy. He returned it to her and remarked that it seemed to be of great importance to her, given that it was not in her luggage or wallet, but in her pocket. The sailor also observed that she seemed fond of the boy in the picture. Ms. Marshall confirmed that the boy was her son and proudly revealed that with the help of a non-profit organization, she discovered that her son was the captain of the luxury ship on which they were currently situated. This revelation stunned the arguing crowd as they realized that this unassuming woman, who lacked proper clothing and shoes, was the mother of the ship's most important figure. Ms. Marshall then began to share her story. The organization helped her raise funds for a premium suite so she could be close to her son. She was surrounded by emotion as she shared her story and was later surprised when her son, the captain, announced over the ship's loudspeakers that he forgave her and loved her. She was reunited with her son for the first time in over 45 years, and they both cried tears of joy. Edith gave her son a pendant that belonged to her father who was killed in the war, which was the last relic of their family. Before uttering, "Thank you for discovering me," Ken embraced Ms. Edith for the final time, expressing his confidence that she would never abandon him. Edith Marshall's story serves as a reminder that our worth is not measured by our possessions or appearances. Despite the millionaire's attempt to shame her, Edith proudly stood up for herself and her son. Let us take inspiration from Edith's story and remember that our identity and value come from within, not from external factors. We hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new about the poor old woman who was kicked out of a luxury cruise ship, Edith Marshall, age 75. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you at the next one.